What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathon and Elijah.
I'm your other host, Elijah. Started off with some tragic news, some unfortunate news. RP to Takeoff. This was like insane to hear because like I feel like with other deaths in music, like to people that I've listened to, for a long time, like Mac Miller, Juice World, Lil Peep, people like that, that they're flirting with danger. They're doing whatever. And obviously, that's dangerous stuff and everything. So I mean, like not expected, but a lot more expected than someone like Takeoff. Like that is just nuts.
Definitely. Yeah, Takeoff just seemed like he minded his own business. He wasn't acting crazy at all. He was always super chill from what I had gathered. And, so it was pretty crazy just to see everything that had happened. It was just a super random night because you and I had been hanging out until like almost 2 in the morning. So by
Yeah.
the time I got home, it was 2. I fell asleep like 3. And then I woke up at like 5:30 to go to the bathroom and I saw a text from you. Maybe it was 5. It was early.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like five.
4:40. You texted me at 4:41. You said, "Wow, take off, broken heart." And then I said, "Wow," at 5:30. So it's crazy that we were just like
Yeah,
up
no,
and
it
we were
was
like
nuts.
getting the details that it happened. Like we're like, "Wow, Quavo got shot too. This is
Mhm.
crazy." That turned out to be false, obviously. But like that's what we thought was happening. And it was so crazy because all like the news reporters and stuff were asleep. Like you were just seeing stuff from tweets, like you weren't seeing TMZ report. And then when TMZ finally did report, you're like, okay. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
So
that is like the thing that everybody's like, okay, we need the TMZ report because there was so much out there. You saw pictures, which is crazy. You saw videos, crazy. So you kind of knew it was confirmed, but seeing it on a
yeah,
headline, you're like, damn.
yeah. So like basically, I'd seen something like Takeoff had reportedly been shot, possibly killed. Like that was the initial one. That's when and then I, let it sit there for a second, and probably 30 minutes later, they were like Takeoff, it's dead. So obviously just a very unfortunate situation. You know, like you said, their videos and stuff like out there, heartbreaking, see Quavo like that, the video of him on the ground, just, it's heartbreaking stuff, of course, they made it together. They're Uncan Few. And I'm just really like grateful, we had gotten that project from him because, I've been bumping Hotel Lobby since it came out. I mean, it's been
Mm-hmm.
6 months now, probably almost, but, and then, Only Built for Infinity Links, solid project. We talked about
Mm-hmm.
a little bit here and there it's what, it hasn't even been out a month for now, probably a month now. So,
Mm-hmm. Just about.
I mean, yeah, just grateful for that side of it, of course, but just an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, my two biggest takeaways from this obviously were one, people are just too free with the cameras. It's crazy. I cannot imagine your first reaction being to pull out your phone and record. I get that he's a celebrity and whatever, but like he's a person at the end of the day. And that's just so crazy to me that people are just like recording. And some of these people weren't like recording from a distance, they were like up
Oh
close.
yeah, no,
That's
like right,
crazy to me.
yeah, that was like they were like right. I mean, it's not like they're for fucking me to that wall back there. Like,
Nah. And I can't even imagine, like, I'm sure they were just random people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. And then the other takeaway was it was kind of like the Kobe death in some aspects to me, not how hard it hit me. The Kobe death is like that is the most a celebrity death has ever hit me and might ever be. Like there are a few people that I love as much as Kobe. So when he died, that was crazy. But the misinformation aspect, like they were talking about Quavo getting shot, and that was like when Kobe's helicopter crashed, like, oh, Rick Fox was on board, all
yeah,
this stuff. Like they were just like spewing stuff out there. And that's one of the obvious drawbacks of social media is everybody can say anything. And then you kind of believe it at some point. You're like, oh my God. Like then you could start spreading it crazy. So I did not like either of those two things, the misinformation side, and then people just like having no social cue and respect and just recording. That's crazy, but
yeah.
all
I mean,
around
it's
awful
just
situation.
just the society we live in nowadays, for sure. But yeah, I mean, prayers to Takeoff's family. Quavo, Offset as well. Any of the any of these people have been around him. Everybody had good things to say. It wasn't just an unfortunate situation. So prayers out to
Mm-hmm.
everyone.
To switch the topic here, we'll go back into our fantasy football update. We do this every week if you're new here. How's your fantasy week looking so far?
I'm getting some points put on me in one league, and then
Mm-hmm.
another league. My team shit the bed. I'm gonna be 4-5 in both leagues. My season's gone downhill tremendously. So I mean, it's just very disappointing. I don't know if my team has what it takes. I just got a bunch of me guys, not enough team guys. So
I guess so. Yeah, I am 4-4 in our league together, and I'm in a very close game. Like they have the projection, it's 49 to 51% that I'm gonna lose. So we'll see, but it's like 0.4 points. So it's gonna be a close finish. So we'll see. He has the tight end for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. And I have Kenyon Drake. My running back situation bad. So if I'm relying on Kenyon Drake to get a win, probably not going to, but we'll see. Then in one of my other leagues, I had the GOAT Joe Mixon drop a double nickel. Craziest fantasy game I've seen. So that was great to have. And then you
yeah,
got
I
that
mean,
double nickel dropped on you in our league.
yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I'm very scared. I've never finished under 500 in a fantasy league. I've been playing since middle
I've
school,
not either.
so
I've
this
not
is
either.
this is scary stuff. But I mean, last year, I didn't have the best regular season, but I ended up making a championship run before I ultimately ended up losing out to you. So, um, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but I'm not very optimistic right now. So,
Hey, I think we play next week in our league. So that'll be a big week for us to report back on.
yeah, we'll hear about
We'll
it, I
see.
guess. Yeah.
We'll see.
Bragging
I need
rights.
my I know I need my boy Jonathan Taylor back, and then we'll see. Although he hasn't been anything special this year, he's still good, but he's not number one pick status.
I know. Yeah, we were talking about vinyls last week. At the end of the episode, I was asking for suggestions. The Ramona Park Broke My Heart vinyl just went on pre-sale. I got it. I will. That'll be up on the wall soon. So I'm down to 2 suggestions that I need. I'm a little
Okay,
worried. I'm
let
a
him
little
know.
worried though because the Ramona Park obviously black cover, and then I also have that Kendrick Lamar one that's also a black cover. I think I'm gonna have to rearrange around a little bit because that's just as you can see behind me. I don't have too many just black covers, and those are both very primarily black. So
Yeah,
I
not
don't
too
want them
many
on the
dark
same row.
ones. Yeah, you just have kind of Jack Boys is kind of dark from a distance, and then kind of even the Bryson Tiller one's a little bit dark, but that's about it.
Yeah, and these are like way like primarily black. Like it's not like
Hmm.
hints of black here and there. These are some dark covers. So
Yeah, for sure. So let him know. Let him know what vinyls he needs, and
light colored
maybe we'll
preferably
pick
or
it up.
color.
Light color
Yeah, we can't have any more black up there.
stuff with good covers. We got to have a good setup for the boy. I think that wraps up the intro. I think it's time we got to get down to it. Obviously, an album we've been looking forward to since it was announced. Her Loss, Drake, 21 Savage collab album just dropped on Friday. And I thought, we should spend some time this episode talking about our first thoughts on the album. Obviously, we haven't had that much time with it. I've only had 2 listens. So, and then I listened to a couple songs more, but 2 full listens. So, definitely initial thoughts. Like these could definitely change by next week, by tomorrow, after one more listen. So take it with a grain of salt, but this is our first thoughts on Her Loss. I guess just generally start, and then we can kind of talk about some songs specifically. What are your thoughts on the project overall? How do you enjoy it?
I mean, I feel like for the general part of it, like they fucking killed it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously we'll get it. We'll get it. I guess we can get into it now. Obviously, it's more primarily a Drake project than 21. It felt like a Drake project that 21 was featured on more versus something like What a Time to Be Alive. But I think this is like past let's say views because I feel like Drake's flows kind of changed since then. I mean, even views I guess would be, but just kind of where everything switched. But I feel like this is the one of the best modern Drake albums we've gotten. Like moving past More Life, best ones we've gotten since More Life, no question, in my opinion.
I think no question. I think that this is the best thing since Views from Drake. I think More Life has moments, but I think I would probably prefer this as a whole. I don't go back to More Life too much. I go back to songs, but that's about it. But yeah, I definitely agree with your first takeaway about it being a Drake project. Basically, it's 66% Drake, 26 21 Savage, and 8% Guess from Hip Hop by the Numbers on Twitter, which that made a lot of sense. That's what I was thinking. I was like, it's like 70-30. Like it really did just seem like a Drake
Yeah,
project. There was times where Drake would go for like minutes, and then you'd get a little bit 21 Savage, and you're like, oh, okay. Well, I was kind of looking forward to 21 Savage. Like I've really grown to like 21 Savage over the years. I feel like at first I definitely liked some songs from him, and I feel like he's just impressed me more and more over the years every time.
he's such a great complimentary artist. Like
Mm-hmm.
he just comes in and just fucking not almost takes over a song, but like he's the perfect number two, or
He is.
one of the best number twos.
He had a bar about that on the project about, he's on the song, it's his song kind of, which reminded me of 5 a.m. in Toronto. Like every song sounded like Drake featuring Drake, whatever. That's just them trying to be like Drake kind of, but also like when he gets on a song, it's a Drake song at some point. Yeah, 21, he can collab with anybody, it sounds like. I mean, you obviously got J. Cole, you got Drake, you got all these people that he's
Offset,
had so much success with. And yeah, he's killed it every time. And this is no exception. This project is really good. I was very happy. I
I feel
really
like
had high expectations going into it, and they were pretty much met.
no, I think it exceeded my expectations almost. Like, it's not the greatest Drake project or greatest project I've ever heard, but I was super worried about what we were gonna get. Like, I thought it'd be more Jimmy Cooks esque, but I guess I wouldn't have been surprised if it was another fucking dance album. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, really satisfied with what we got and everything. And then I feel like 21 Savage kind of like falls under the radar, and like in terms of like newer rappers, like this should definitely like solidify him in there now. Like, he's not an underrated rapper by any means or anything, but whenever you're talking about the Babies, the Dirks, Cardis, Travis, I feel like 21 Savage kind of isn't in that combo, even though he should be. So
Oh, he definitely should be. I think he's definitely top 10 of that generation.
yeah, this
And
kind
I
of
think you make a case for top 5 for sure, even higher. Um, Depending on who you ask, I wouldn't be mad if you said he was. Overall, good project. I think with any Drake project, you kind of get some of those bars where you're like, oh, whatever, kind of make you like, oh, do I like that? Is that bad? Is it good? He walks that line pretty well sometimes. Like they're memorable, and then you can kind of like decide whether it's like memorable in a good way or bad way. Some of them, I don't know. Some on this album I think are not so good. I feel like even on Views, which I loved, I remember he has a line like "Getting Green like Earth Day" or something like that. That's just a line that's gonna stick out to me. Like, is it good or is it bad? It walks that line. There's some definitely in this project. One of my favorite things from this project has been the Genius annotations. I was going through Genius, reading along with the lyrics just now, and there are some funny ones. On 2 songs, one time Drake says he's a vamp, and then another one he says he's
yeah.
somebody's crush, and then the G's annotation is just saying he's 36 years old, and that's just so funny to me.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. Like, my thing is like, you can view some of these bars as corny or whatever, but yeah, I mean, some of them are. But he's trying. It's like such a broad range of people that he is trying to relate this to. He's not a fucking straight MC, trying to fucking cater towards this one crowd. Like, we've seen where Drake is. He's bigger than rap almost, or he's
No, he is.
just trying to do different things.
Drake is
So
at some point a pop artist, I mean, like he is one of the biggest artists in the world. So totally get what you mean. He has to cater to everybody versus, Pusha T, who caters to the straight rap fan, or Benny the Butcher, who caters to the straight rap fan. So I totally get that.
yeah, so I mean, like, if that's what you're looking for with any Drake project, I mean, nearly ever any of his projects, that's not where you're gonna get. Um, so I mean, I feel like that's the only negative thing I've seen about it. Outside of that, I mean, I feel like it's been pretty good, pretty well received.
I would agree. And I think at some point that complaint about the lyrics is almost like it doesn't matter because Drake's songs are more about like curating a vibe and a sound versus like bar heavy. So I
Yeah,
I get that. Like he does do a very good job on this project of, very good production choice, a lot of beat switches which are cool, and then a lot of flow switches as well. So yeah, I think these songs just in general sound good, even if the lyrics aren't perfect. They're good songs overall for sure.
what was one of your standout tracks or your favorite track so far?
I think it's tough. I don't know what I would say my favorite track is so far, but I think it'd probably be between Pussy and Millions. I really like Pussy and Millions,
Yeah,
and I
that's
think Middle of the Ocean.
I love Middle of the Ocean was giving me like Do Not Disturb vibes. There's I saw something, there's no hook to it, It's just Drake
Just
just fucking
goes.
flowing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Which I love a good Drake track like that. So that was obviously a standout for me. But I don't know, something about Spin About You, that I don't
I
know.
like it a lot too.
That's a
Got that nice
banger. Yeah.
sample. It's good. It's cool for sure. There are a lot of good songs on this. Like I could see if you asked 10 people, I think they probably have 6 or 7 different favorite songs. And that's how you know it's a pretty good project overall. Rich flex to start the album. arguably the most iconic moment from the album so far. Do your thing, 21.
Yeah,
Like that
when that's
is
going viral.
so funny. It is going crazy right now. It might not be the most memorable piece of the music, but the social media thing that's come from it, they are just running with it, and it's taking a life of its own. It's so funny. The memes of how Drake was in the studio rapping that bar. It was very zesty the way he said it, but I kind of love it at the same time. Like it
Yeah,
is
like,
so memorable.
the thing is, you gotta have something blow up on social media, with a Drake album. So
He's gonna have
with this,
something.
it's
Yeah,
yeah, it's funny, it's entertaining. So I thought that it was really setting the tone with Rich Flex initially. I felt like right out the gate, first 5 tracks, that I just knew from then. I was in the shower listening before work, and I was just like, damn.
mm-hmm. I will say after Rich Flex, you get a major distribution, and I didn't love the first half of that, but then when the beat switched, I was like, okay. And that second beat gave me big TD by Lil Yachty vibes. That Tokyo Drift kind of
Yeah,
that was good. Um, it was cool for sure. There were some good bars on that. 21 has a line. Labels calling Harry Styles numbers. It's a robbery. Go in, Zayn, catch a body. We was face to face. You could have shot me. Love that. You got the Harry Styles, Zayn, One Direction bar. That was cool. I like that. Another line, I'll skip a couple songs here. That 21 drop that just I loved was on Treacherous Twin. I don't show ID at clubs because they know that I'm 21.
I thought that bar was tough. I
That's
like,
so good. Like
yeah,
that, I hit the stank. I was playing 2K while I was listening. I just hit the stank face. I was like, oh, that was good.
yeah, I saw like a little, or getting a little hate for it, like whatever you think is kind of cool. I thought that was tough as
I
fuck.
thought it was really good. I like that bar
Yeah.
a lot.
It's not super creative or anything. Like, don't take it as like the greatest bar ever, but that's just a tough bar.
I think it's pretty creative. I do mean that. Like, because he's obviously not saying he's 21 years old. He's saying he's 21 Savage. He doesn't have a show ID. He just gets to go where he wants. And that kind of made me think of that Drake video where he's going to that party and they're like, who invited you? And he's like, me,
Yeah.
myself. So that was exactly what I thought of when I saw that bar from 21 Savage. But I loved it. I thought that was a really good bar. And then one other one from him that I just enjoyed was on Broke Boys. He says, two sticks in my hand like I'm playing the Wii. I was like,
Yeah.
just imagining 21 Savage playing Wii Sports, and I cannot picture that. But I love the line.
Okay, the Wii's class, especially for our generation, like everybody had a Wii.
I
Um,
know, but I don't know. I can't picture it, but I love it.
One bar that I absolutely loved from Drake, the one where he's like talking about the pretty much the abortion shit, just turning the news and seeing that men who never got pussy in school are making laws about women, what women can do. Like that, I feel like perfectly explains the phase Drake is in, or like who Drake's making music for, stuff like that. Like that just kind of broadens the range there, and just pretty much calling these dudes nerds, these politicians nerds and everything. So I love that
Yeah,
one from him.
I like that one too. I think he got the girls on his side with that one, and then he instantly got them off his side when he dissed Megan Thee Stallion. So that was tough. I did not like the Megan Thee Stallion diss. That was bad. I was not a fan. Lil Yachty went on Instagram Live and he was talking about. He said he was going to talk about it because he knows Drake's not, but it was not about Megan Thee Stallion. It was about women getting BBLs
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
getting back shots, and that's cap. They might have that as like a double entendre, you know what I mean? They might be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're going with. But they knew the other interpretation of that. You can't say
No,
stallion
you
in
can't. No, you
2022
you can't
and
say
not
that
mean Megan.
bar. Yeah, you can't say that. I mean, especially with you know, what came before that.
Yes.
I mean, it's clearly at Megan Thee Stallion, which whatever. I really like that. I really like Circo Loco though. That was a tough track.
That was one of the most interesting tracks. So obviously the one more time interpolation sample. What do you think about both of those?
I liked it. I liked a lot of the samples that they used. Obviously, the one you said about "Spin About You" as well. I feel like Drake always has decent samples, or it kind of all fits in the same category or same vibe. Especially more recently, starting kind of off with Scorpion and shit like that. So
No, Drake always has good samples for the most part. This was interesting though. The Daft Punk one more time sample. I love that track. So that was pretty just wild hearing. I was like, wait a second. Had to kind of
yeah,
do a double take. I really like the sample aspect, but then he did the interpolation at the end where he was like interpolating that one more time chorus part. I didn't love that, but I like the beat. The beat was very good on that. That was cool. That kind of sounded like something that you could have heard on Honestly Nevermind. I saw this girl on TikTok and she was doing like a review of Honestly Nevermind back in, June or whatever it
Yeah.
dropped. And she was like, I could just see Drake doing Daft Punk one more time. And then you fast forward how many months and then it happens. So she like duetted it or stitched it or whatever. Pretty
Yeah.
funny.
And I feel like another take, he didn't venture like so far from like Honestly Nevermind. Like this is still kind of somewhat of the same vibe. Obviously you're getting different, a little bit different there, but
I don't know.
he's
I think
not, he
it's
didn't,
very different.
I don't think he went too far away from like his style that he's kind of gotten used to now.
I think this was much more rap focused than a lot of Drake projects we've got recently.
Yeah. No, there's not
Definitely
like
more
that.
rap focused than Honestly Nevermind.
No, of course with that, and there's not that pop hit that you're going to see off it.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked what
They'll
we got
find a
for
way.
him.
They will find a way to make one of these a pop hit. I don't know which one's going to be yet. I would have said Pussy in Millions, but it's called Pussy in Millions, so it's not going to
Yeah,
be that.
I don't know. We'll see. There's not that track on there for me. I don't know, but you said like you said it. No,
I
it's
think we need a
lurking.
week.
It's lurking there. Yeah,
we need a week, and then we'll be able to tell. But some of them are, longer songs. Some of them are slower songs. Some of them bar heavy. It's going to be interesting. We'll see. So one other thing that I really loved, one just part of the album, was the second verse on Broke Boys. You get 21 Savage starting to rap, and then you got Drake kind of like following it up. Like 21 Savage says, got more strikes than Adidas. And Drake says, yeah, I got stripes with fuck Adidas.
Yeah,
that was hard. And then they had a couple of lines where they were doing that kind of delivery. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty cool.
I wish I love the Travis Scott feature, of course. I wish it would have went unlisted for the first night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because that beat switch and then him coming on, like it would have been crazy at the
It
time.
would have been a moment. It would have been like the sicko mode Drake feature. It would have been great.
Still,
Academics would have a crazy reaction.
Even with knowing the feature was there, still the beat switch there was phenomenal. Travis killed it. I'm ready for Utopia. I got to throw my little Travis love in there. So,
yeah, I mean, if Utopia is anything like the Travis we're getting here, it's going to be dope for sure. I have no doubt that it's going to be dope. I think my last comment on her loss is going to be 3M on Glenwood. I mean, 21 Savage doing the time and place was very unexpected. I thought for sure that was going to be a solo Drake track. I mean, at this point, so many of these kind of were solo Drake tracks. But I thought when we got the track list, it was going to be like the Jersey and 30 for 30 freestyle off of What a Time to Be Alive. Like I thought that was going to be those two individual songs, and then all that was going to be straight collabs. So that was kind of unexpected, but 21 killed it. He did justice to the time and place. That's, I think, Drake's best series, one of the best series in rap songs. Definitely some of Drake's best songs have come from those, and 21 killed it. So that was dope.
I love the bar from this is probably my favorite bar on the album, I'd say. Spray the witness, I ain't leaving no Jehovah for him.
That's tough. Yeah, I mean, there's some good bars throughout this. I'm gonna have to give it a couple more lessons to come up with some definite ones, but yeah, definitely some good ones. 21, I think he got some interesting ones always. So it was dope. I think I might have to go with the I don't show ID because I'm 21. Like I love that line.
Yeah,
like,
that is
on first listen. I was like, oh yeah, like I like that.
Yeah, you gave me that. I just dunked on him face or just crossed him up face.
Oh yeah, I loved it. But yeah, I guess overall, I thought it was a pretty good album. Like I don't think it's gonna be end of the year quality. I mean, we'll see. I got to give it a couple more listens. I don't think it'll make my top 10, but I like it. It was cool. Definitely happy we got that kind of more rappy Drake project after CLB, after Honestly Nevermind. It was definitely cool to get back to that classic Drake that I feel like we got through a lot of these songs.
Definitely, obviously, a lot more rap focused. Love it, of course. They killed the project, though. We'll have to see. I think it's definitely going to be an honorable mention for the end of the year. I think this is going to get a lot more play than some of the other albums that could potentially end up in my top 10. So we'll see what happens. We're about a month away from that. So we'll just wait on it.
Yes, sir. It's going to be close. I think it's a borderline. I will say I sent you this, but I don't know if you responded. I can't remember, but I'll say it again for the people. This weekend I was out and I overheard a discussion about rap album of the year. I take every discussion I hear in hoops with a grain of salt. not the most rap focused community, but the people that were talking, I do respect their rap opinions from conversations I've had in the past. One guy was talking about his rap albums of the year. JID. Okay, yeah, for sure. I'm with that. Pusha T. Oh yeah, definitely. King
Album of the
Push.
year.
Rap album of the year. Yeah, he says it. We've been saying it. Okay. Kid Cudi. I don't know about that one. He lost me with that.
Yeah, I wasn't there obviously, but you guys obviously know that. I would I would probably walked
It would have been
away.
bad. It would have
I
been
would have
bad if
walked
you were
away.
there. But then they kind of put me on the spot. They're like, "What's yours?" And I was like, "Ooh, I don't know." I said a couple. I still don't know what my number one is. Like, it's gonna be tough at the end of the year to come up with my number one. I feel like in years past, when I've heard that number one, I knew I heard it. Like when I heard Igor, I was like, "There's nothing beating this." That's a 2019, 2020. I don't remember what it was, but even Call Me Get Lost. When I heard Call Me Get Lost, I was like, "Oh yeah, nothing's beating this."
This has been a very good year. I obviously, maybe a different perspective from us since we've been doing this for this whole year. But I'm really excited to get in and kind of narrow that down. I have like a rough estimate in my head, a rough idea in my head what it's going to be, but I'm not sure. Obviously, once you get to writing that list down or you're typing that list out, like that's when you're like, fuck. So
We'll see. And I mean, this is honestly one of the best years we could have started the podcast. Like, this is so good. There have been so many
yeah,
good albums to talk about, and that just makes our job a little bit tougher in December, but I love it
it's the
at the same
business.
time. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Excited. But yeah, kind of want to close out that Drake part by talking about that because we said, maybe audible mention, but that's just because it's such a good year, in a weaker year, maybe it's top 10. I don't know. But this year, I don't know. Needed more
We'll
time with
see.
it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
But of course, we need you guys to let us know what your thoughts are on this album. We're going to post on Instagram the day this drops. It'll be live by the time you're hearing this, probably. So go comment on our post and let us know what your favorite song from this project is because I think a lot of people are going to have different options. So excited to see what everybody says.
Definitely. So like you said, go comment on that. But I think about wraps it up. A little shorter main focus, but obviously had to get into the boy. So
Had to. And then, of course, another thing we always got to get into is the news. Starting off with the releases this week, obviously Drake and 21 Savage, we touched on that. Joji, Alicia Keys, Boldy James, Aaron May, all dropping projects. And then we got singles from Brockhampton, Lil Peep, Gorillaz, Masego, John Legend, Pivot Gang, and then JID adds 2007 to the end of the Forever Story to complete the album. Wasn't on there originally due to clearance issues, and we now have it. So that's a great track.
no, that is a phenomenal track. I remember that was one of the first ones they did on YouTube, or they had to release on YouTube. So I'm glad to see that, of course. And the Brockhampton or Kevin Abstract track, we'll call it. I enjoyed
Yeah,
that one as well. Yeah. And then obviously the Lil Peep one, but other than that, it's mainly focused on Drake and 21. What were you able to give a listen to this weekend?
same. Really, just the Brockhampton track, the Lil Peep, and the Pivot Gang, and then JID. Looking forward to listening to Joji though. I really liked the songs he'd been dropping so far, and I kind of like him as an artist overall. I think he's pretty cool. So excited to get into that. Obviously, Glimpse of Us has been going like crazy this year, but that song is fire. So excited to see how he does on the whole project because I have listened to a full Joji project. I think his other one's pretty cool. So we'll see how this one does. I haven't really seen anybody talking about it on Twitter. I think Drake's getting all the shine. So that's kind of how every Drake release goes, though. So we'll see.
I think Joji just has like so much fucking potential. Like he could be a fucking mega star in music. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
with tracks like Glimpse of Us, which is kind of getting the shine on TikTok, and then Slow Dancing in the Dark. Then like he's had solid projects as well. So I mean, he has that potential to just become fucking huge. So obviously, with it, he didn't drop on a good week with it being a Drake week, but
No,
he definitely has that potential though. So I mean, maybe next project or maybe this one's the fucking classic and we just haven't given it to
maybe.
listen yet.
I know we got to give it some time. But let's talk about the Brockhampton one. Obviously, we still have 2 weeks until the Brockhampton final album, The Family, drops. And this is our first look at what that album might sound like. And I've been back in the OG Brockhampton days. I'm on Reddit daily looking at what little conspiracies people are putting together. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with the end of this, but I really am. Like, there was a minute where I just like wasn't really listening to Brockhampton, probably between, around that Ginger era. And then I kind of got back with Roadrunner even. And now I'm like back in. I'm listening to the old songs that are leaks. I'm listening to all this stuff, listening to the project. I listened to Saturation 2 full the other day for the first time in a minute. And wow, what an album. But there's so many conspiracies out here. Like, obviously, this track is basically Kevin Abstract song, like you said. And then I saw some, some thoughts, and I was kind of reading into the wording that Kevin used when they announced the final album on the Coachella performance and live stream. And then they posted it everywhere, of course. But Kevin was saying, hey, I made something, and it's not a solo thing, it's a group thing.
Mhm.
But he made it. I think that's a key distinction, right? Kevin put this together, right? I'm very confused about that. Now that we're kind of getting the first song, I'm like, is this going to be Kevin kind of piecing together songs from that Roadrunner era to make a full project? I saw some people even saying that is Kevin going to be doing like basically acting like he's everybody else, some lines about, I don't know. That'd be crazy. Some schizophrenic shit where he's just like rapping from Merlin's point of view, rapping from,
Yeah.
Dom's point of view. That'd be crazy. I don't know. I really don't know what we're going to get this last project. On this track, Kevin says the line about the label needed 35 minutes. I don't like that. I don't like that it's like a label requirement is why we're getting this. I really hope that this is a double album type deal. And that's another conspiracy that I've been seeing. People think that, they're giving the label this 35-minute project, and then we're getting the full Brockhampton send off at some point soon.
Yeah, I mean, it would make a lot of sense, with not a lot of the other members promoting this and everything, but I don't want to get my expectations too high, and none of this to happen. I could also,
Uh,
that's also a very realistic possibility in my eyes. So we'll just have to see. But I mean, if it just ends up just being nothing, just Kevin on these tracks, and the last one, the family being them, and then we receive nothing else, that'd be some of the most disappointing stuff I've ever had in rap, or in music.
it would be so tough if I'm listening to that project Thursday night at 11 and we get through like 5 songs and I will hear Kevin Abstract. Like, I think there might be tears. Like, I'll be very upset.
I think
Um,
I'm prepared for that. I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm prepared for, and then hopefully at some point receive something else. But at that point, they're
I don't
not
know. My
together. Yeah,
expectations are like so high. It's so tough. Like, I need a great project from them to end it. I need what feels like closure. We'll see. Obviously, we have one more episode of the podcast before it's going to come out, so we'll get to talk about it a little bit more next week, probably. But yeah, so much to think about, so much possibility with what could happen, and obviously what could not happen. There's who knows. But one thing I did see and hear is at the end of Big Pussy, it sounds like Joba at the very start of Ready for War. And I know that's the delusion in my head that I want that track to be out, but I do want that track to be out. But I don't think it's going to come out. It's such a long song. None of these songs are long. The track list and the times have all come out. It's not coming out. And that sucks because that's one of the best songs they've ever made. Amir's verse is one of the best verses I've ever heard. I will die on that hill, and I need Ready for War to come out. That's how I'm going to end this rant.
yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I just with this, stuff like this, I especially Brockhampton, where they've had all the Puppy and all these other albums that just have not came out, or stuff like that. I'm just not getting my hopes too high. We'll see what happens though.
We'll see. It's going to be I do have faith that it'll be good no matter what. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
No, I hope what we get is good, but like with this other album, stuff like that, I don't know. It really worries me. The track, like you said, it's 35 minutes, 17 songs. So that's very worrisome. Like there's not very many over 2 minutes. So
Exactly. I think the time is the biggest thing. Obviously, the runtime of the project is the start of the concern. But if it was, 9 songs, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, I'd be like, okay, like whatever. But it's like 16 songs or whatever, and they're all under 2 minutes for the most part,
yeah.
2.5 minutes. How much can you really do? I don't know. I don't doubt that they can do a lot in 2.5 minutes, but like there's so many people that you can't hear all those voices on
Mhm.
a song in 2.5 minutes. Like, I kind of feel like it's going to be more individual focused. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll react. We'll have reaction in 2 weeks. Maybe they'll do another single or something beforehand, but we're just playing the waiting game now.
Yes, sir. All right, I think that wraps it up for the releases, though. Let's move on to some other news. Pretty light week, very light week, actually.
Yeah,
Very dominated
very.
by Drake. You know, when Drake drops, the rest of the industry is going to be kind of
They're
quiet
clearing. They're clearing out. Yeah,
unless they've
clearing out
been
like
planning a
roaches.
lot. Exactly. All right. Taylor Swift becomes the first artist to occupy the entire top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. Very impressive feat. That's super cool.
Yeah, that is nuts.
That's a
Obviously, with
big
the
old
name like
flex.
Taylor's, yeah, with the name like Taylor Swift, like I'm not surprised at the same time, but it's just insane.
Yeah, I was just watching a video by the Needle Drop, and he was talking about the vinyl thing, which we talked about before. She put up crazy first week sales, obviously, but she did have a lot of physical sales, which is, I mean, that's dope that she was
Yeah,
able to
no,
do that. But the drawback to that is, she's Taylor Swift. She's a big name artist at a big label. She's going to get, the backing from that label and the money to be able to get the distribution, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of putting a lot of smaller artists at a disadvantage. So he in the video, he was talking about how some of these smaller artists are looking at like over a year before their vinyls will be released. But it's,
yeah.
there's not that many that are making them and all that kind of stuff. So
You
it's
said, I mean,
crazy that Taylor Swift was able to get like all these different pressings, all these different covers. But obviously, I'm sure there were some financial incentives in there for the distributors and the manufacturers to do that.
well, you see something even like the melodic blue, like people who have ordered those still don't have those in hand. Like those, they're
Mm-hmm.
still not shipped out. The album was not huge, but I mean, that album is very well received within rap, and it's still, I mean, I don't know. There, like you said, there's it's just kind of like a double edged sword with that. So it's not much you can do, though. I mean, obviously, 1.5 million albums is insane, but there's that draw to it as well. I saw it was like actual streamings, 400, 500K. That tops anything that we've seen this year. So obviously, there's still a lot of street or outside of the physical sales, you're still seeing a lot there. So
Yeah, I mean, it was a largely anticipated album. Everybody was listening to it. I feel like even people that
it's
aren't necessarily in her fan base are checking it out. So, and it's gonna be in all these playlists and stuff. It's definitely gonna get run up every time, no matter what.
I feel like
So
it's
yeah,
always a moment when Taylor Swift released. I could always, there's the Swifties posting whatever, So
they're posting
I
lyrics on the IG story. They're going crazy.
I respect though, because Taylor Swift's one of our generation's goats in terms of just musicians. So
Facts. Yeah, she's gone crazy for the last decade. So very well deserved. Crazy accomplishment to be the first artist to do every spot in the top 10. That is, I don't know, that is mind blowing.
yeah, I think if there would be an artist to do it, it'd be her. So I mean, well
Yeah,
deserved, of course.
I kind of would be able to see Drake sometime though too.
Mhm.
I think if you put out like if he tried to make a full pop type album, I think Drake could do every spot in the top 10. You know what I mean? Just because those would be getting radio play. Like we said here, there's not really a song that's going to be that direct look for the radio or that pop hit. But I think if he had, a album full of Hotline Blings and One Dances, obviously those are huge songs and
Yeah,
very different
huge.
songs. But if he had an album full of like songs that he was trying to do that on, I think he could do it too.
And we've seen Drake, with the Scorpion 3 that went back to back to back. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously he's had his fair share of success on there. So um I don't know. That's still just nuts that they occupying the whole all 10 of them. So
Yeah. And then kind of, sticking with Drake just doing crazy numbers. Her Loss breaks a Spotify single day record for streams on a collab album with over 97 million. So Her Loss definitely going crazy. I saw some tweets and it was the same tweet just kind of posted by different accounts, which happens obviously. But it was like everybody was saying that uh Bikini Bottom by Ice Spice was doing better than Her Loss because like it had, maybe like 9 million views or something like that. And then Drake had how many ever million views, but it was more. But Ice Spice has been out for over a week. Awful comparison. And they're definitely trolling, but I think some people took it and went with it. And they're like, oh, the album's
yeah,
flopping. Yeah.
flop and Drake will never flop. I mean, yeah, that's been made evident. He's in terms of rap, he's the sales go. I mean, no one's outselling Drake in rap. So
Facts.
I think they're on pace to 350,000 this week.
I actually haven't seen a number, but I would be surprised. It sounds about right.
I think I saw that on Hip Hop by the Numbers, which is insane. That's top album of the year. So props to Drake. The sales go. I feel like that is one thing you cannot argue is Drake is gonna outsell any other rapper.
Facts. He's him. I think Kendrick had a very good shot at it this year because it had been so anticipated because he'd been gone for so long, but Drake's still Drake. So yeah, nobody's stopping Drake, I don't think, for a minute at least.
It's just insane. Like you said, every time I feel like there's always records being broken anytime Drake drops. So props to 21. His name is also attached to that as well.
I know. So. I love to see that shine for 21 Savage. It's beautiful. But I think that's gonna wrap the episode up. It was a very light week. Gonna be a shorter episode for sure. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what you thought about her loss on the comments if you're on YouTube. Hit our DMs at Second Avenue Pod. And we'll be back next week with another banger.
Of course, yeah. Tune in next week. See you guys.
Peace.